Viewers, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for watching my video. Thank you for subscribing. Please, if you are new to this channel and you are here to subscribe, kindly touch on the subscribe button to subscribe and also hit on the notification bell to be the first to be notified whenever I upload new video. In today's tutorial, we are going to be looking at how to make a one side up shoulder. It will be a princess bustier and a straight gown. So I will be making use of this fabric. This fabric is 4 years. So let's get started. Back slit. Okay, first I'm going to be cutting the down panel of this gown. It will be a straight gown with back slit. So I will cut the down panel first. So I'm going to fold my fabric into 4. I will first of all fold it into 2, then fold it again, making it into 4. Also mark out zipper allowance. So I'll go ahead and fold that now. Okay, as you can see, my fabric is folded into 4. This is my zip allowance. So my folding stopped at this zip allowance. The gown length I'm working with is 60 inches, and the down panel I will be making use of 43 inches. That's after minusing my half length. So I'm minusing 17 inches for my half length to get the gown length, which is 60 inches. So when you minus 17 inches from 60 inches, it will give you 43 inches. So I will measure at 43 inches here. So I'll be using 2 inches for folding allowance. So I'm making use of this Ankara length. The waist I'm working with is 34.5 inches. Divided by 4 will give us 8.6. So I will measure out 8.6 here. I will add 1 inch for that and 2 inches for same allowance, making it 3 inches. Waist to hip line is 9 inches. Measure from your waist down to your hip to get your hip line measurement. So this is where I'm taking my hip measurement. The hip that I'm working with is 42 inches. Divided by 4 will give us 10.5. So here is 10.5. I will add seam allowance. So I will mark a straight line from my hip measurement down to the hemline. So this is my hip measurement. From this hip line measurement, at this hemline I will go in by 2 inches to form a pencil gown. So I'm going to connect from my hip line with my ruler down to the hemline measurement. So I will just connect with my ruler from my hip line down to these 2 inches that I moved in here at my hemline. So this is it. This is the line that I'm working with now. Okay, I will connect from my waist again down to my hip line measurement. So this is it. Connect from your waist down to hip line, then from your hip line mark it down to the hemline. So I'm going to cut it out. So this is it. So I will go ahead and cut the upside. Okay, for the upper part of the gown, I will still fold my fabric into two. I'm cutting the back side first. I will mark out zip allowance. I'm using 2 inches for zip allowance. So I will mark out zip allowance and my half length. As you can see, I've marked out zipper allowance 2 inches. I'm using 2 inches for zip allowance, and this is my half length measurement. Okay, the shoulder that I'm working with is 16 inches. Divide by 2 will give us 8 inches. See where I'm starting my measurement from this zip line. So still on this line, I will take 3 inches for shoulder slope. So where I mark my shoulder measurement, I will go down here by 1 inch to get my shoulder slope. So I will mark it out like this. Then from this place that I mark 1 inch here, take my armhole measurement, and the armhole that I'm working with is 18 inches. Divided by 2 will give us 9 inches. So I will use my ruler to connect this. So mark it to this side. For the armhole curve, to get your armhole curve, in case you don't have armhole curve, you divide this armhole by 2. This is 9 inches. Divided by 2 will give us 4.5. So here is 4.5. At this edge, go in by 1.5 inches. Curve it to this 1.5. This is it for armhole curve. I will take bust measurement. The bust that I'm working with is 40 inches. Divided by 4 will give us 10 inches. I'll add 2 inches for seam allowance. The waist I'm working with is 34.5 inches. Divided by 4 will give us 8.6. At this waistline, I will take 1 inch for that and 2 inches for seam allowance. So I'm going to cut this out. Since this will be a one side up shoulder, I don't need to cut out the neckline. So this is it for the back side, for the upper back side of our gown. So I will cut the front upper side. I will still fold my fabric into 2. I'm cutting the center front first. So see, my fabric is still folded into 2. Here I will measure out my shoulder measurement, which is 16 inches. Divided by 2 will give us 8 inches. So here is shoulder measurement, divide by 2. So I will mark out shoulder to bust measurement, and shoulder to bust measurement is 8 inches. I will then mark my half length measurement, 17 inches. I'll be adding extra 1 inch for joining allowance. So I will use my ruler to connect these lines. So this is it. This is shoulder to bust measurements, half length, and joining allowance. So at this shoulder side, I will measure out my 1 inch for shoulder slope. So from this 1 inch that I moved down here, I will take my armhole measurement. For this center front, I will be using 3 inches. Bust to bust measurement is 8 inches. Bust to bust measurement is 8 inches. Since our fabric is folded into 2, I'm dividing it by 2. So 8 divided by 2 will give us 4 inches. I'll be adding half inch for seam allowance. This half inch depends on what you sew with. So I'm going to mark 4.5 down to my half length. Also connect with my ruler. So this is it. So where I mark shoulder to bust measurement, I will go up here by 3 inches, and also move down here by 3 inches. So this is shoulder to upper bust, and this is shoulder to under bust. This is shoulder to bust line measurement. You can determine yours by taking your measurement from shoulder to upper bust and under bust. I will also connect the line. So don't forget, this is from shoulder to upper bust. This is shoulder to bust, and this is shoulder to under bust. So from these 3 inches, curve it. So this is what I'm doing. So I will go ahead and cut this out. So this is it. Don't forget to notch this shoulder to upper bust, shoulder to bust measurement, and under bust measurement. So I'm going to notch them. Okay, for the two sides of our princess bust here, I will still fold my fabric into two. I will measure out 2 inches here for breast curve. So these 2 inches, I will add extra half inch. Remember that I'm adding half inch for seam allowance, making it 2.5 inches. I will mark a straight line. This is for breast curve. So I will get this front one, place it on top of this. See, the line will stop at this 2.5 inches that I marked here. So I will still trace this. Mark out half length. So from this place, take my armhole measurement, 18 inches divided by 2 will give us 9 inches. So I'll use my ruler to connect. Also curve out armhole curve. So don't also forget to mark out these places that I notch. So after that, I will remove this. So this is shoulder to bust measurement. Then I'll from up here curve it a little down to this shoulder to bust measurement. Then from this 3 inches that I move down here, curve it up here. So this is it. So to take the measurement, you still place this back. Take bust measurement, divide by 4, and bust is 40 inches, divide by 4 will give us 10 inches. See, where I'm starting my measurement from this center one that I place on top. So I'll take my seam allowance 2 inches. Waist measurement is 34.5 inches, divided by 4 will give us 8.6. I will still add 2 inches for seam allowance. So I'm going to connect from my waist, from my bust down to my waist measurement. So this is what I'm cutting out. So I'll remove this. So this is it. So it's after joining this up now, I will then cut out the one side shoulder. So I also cut out the lining that I'll be using for this. It will be in 3 pieces like this. Finish lining them with the down panel. This is the front and this is the second back. Here is my dart. Okay, for the one side shoulder, first I join this front upper part. I also join the lining. I'm going to use this back upper part to cut out the one side shoulder. So this is the zipper allowance. I just stitch it so that I can get what I want. Towards this side, I'm going to measure 3 inches. This is for the one side shoulder. This is where the shoulder side will be. So the up shoulder side, I'm going to be minusing 6.5 inches. Let me use this gel. So I'm minusing 6.5 inches. Here I'm using 3 inches. So I'm going to slant this to this 6.5 inches. If you want to curve yours, it depends on the style, you can curve yours like this. It depends on what you want, or you can slant it straight like this, or even curve it a little. So I'm going to curve mine a little. So this is what I'm cutting out now for the one side shoulder. So this is it. So I will use this one now. Place it on top of this front part and still cut out the same thing. Still curve the same thing. Or you can just use the back side, place it on top and cut it out. And cut it out like this. Or you can use the pieces that you cut out to place on top of this to cut out what you want like this. You can use it, place it on top of the front one like this, and still trace out what you want. So after cutting this out now, I will still repeat the same thing on the lining. Line it, then join the zip side, the upper part to the down panel of our gown, and also join the front upper part to the down panel, and also insert zip. Okay, I've joined them together. This is it. And this is the back side. Now is to join the shoulder together. So I'm going to go to my machine and join this place. Then close the two sides up with body measurement. I'm going to measure my bust measurements, divide by 2, waist measurement, divide by 2, and also hip measurement, divide by 2. And for the back side will have slit. So this is what I'm using for the slit after closing it up with 2 inches that I left for zip allowance. So it depends on how open you want your slit to be. I'm using 22 inches from the hemline. Measure 22 inches from the hemline. Like this, measure 22 inches from the hemline. So if you want it to be more than this 22 inches, you still extend it. So for the sleeve, I'm using round flare. Okay, this is it. At this hemline here, I move in by 2 inches. So it depends on how penciled you want your gown to be. So I'll go to my machine and close it up, and also insert sleeve. This is it. Here is the back. This is the slit. For the wrap, this is what I'll be using for the wrap. I'll use this fabric, gather it up, so this is it. So I'm going to open up here, fix it in. So at this side, I'm going to attach band here where this wrap will pass through. So I just need to open this hip side, fix this wrap, then attach band here, and that will be all. Thank you so much for watching till the end. Please, if you're here to subscribe, kindly touch on the subscribe button to subscribe, and also click on the notification bell to be the first to be notified whenever I upload new video. See you guys in my next tutorial. Bye.